My name is David Madison, the 13th of August 2020, and this is episode 8 in a series of videos, Required Homework for Christians. Having served my time among church folks for 9 years as minister of 2 parishes, I know a thing or two about what they need to learn. This lesson is about the Apostle Paul, whom Christians admire because of his famous hymn to love in 1 Corinthians 13, commonly read at weddings. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but do not have love, I'm a noisy gong and a clanging cymbal. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant. That was Paul in a good mood. But what was really going on with him? Read Paul's letters in the New Testament. You'll realize how wrong he was about so much. Check out 1 Thessalonians. He says there that when Jesus comes on the clouds to set up his kingdom, dead Christians will rise from their graves to meet Jesus in the sky. And Paul knew for sure that he would be there too. This would happen in his lifetime. Since Jesus would arrive soon, he wanted Christians to be ready. They should stop having sex, to be as pure as possible. He discouraged marriage. Okay, do it if you have to, but even so, he said, it is better for a man not to touch a woman. In fact, he said this, those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. Really, Christians? Is that what you signed on for? If Christians were in the process of taking each other to court, they should stop. Why? Because they would soon be judging angels. So can't they settle disputes among themselves? Paul was not an original follower of Jesus. He persecuted the early Christians. But then came his famous Damascus Road conversion, one of the most famous stories in the Bible, told 3 times in the book of Acts. In all of his letters, however, he never mentions it. Paul insists that he heard from the dead Jesus himself. He had visions, we would call them hallucinations, and was emphatic that he didn't get any information about Jesus from human sources. He didn't bother to confer with the original disciples. He does report that he once spent a couple of weeks with Peter, but goes out of his way to say he didn't meet with the others. We wonder what they talked about. In all his letters, Paul doesn't mention the empty tomb, the miracles, or the teachings of Jesus. Everything he has to say about Jesus came from his visions, hallucinations. That puts Christian theology on shaky foundations, doesn't it? Paul couldn't look up stuff in the Gospels. They hadn't been written yet. Paul, unfortunately, was given to magical thinking. For example, this is in his letter to the Romans. If you confess with your lips that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. This is a magic formula, about on a par with Harry Potter. If you utter a magic spell and think it too, you're saved. Presto, voila. Really? Is this the way God works? Several of the letters attributed to Paul, by the way, are forgeries. Yes, forgeries in the Bible. So when you start your homework on Paul, do the research and find out which letters he actually wrote. Even the authentic ones, I warn you, are a tough go. Understanding Christianity is not easy, and Paul being wrong about so much doesn't help.